Hi, this is Susan. We're going to make this bubble wreath for Easter. Let me just show it to you. Has a silk ribbon. And on the back, on this one I used felt. So let's get started. You want a piece of trash plastic. And here's your dimensions. This is 2 inches across from point to point, and then this is 1 inch in the center, and this is 1/2 of an inch. And this will make the average size. Now you have 2 choices. I started making these with felt on the back, a ring of felt, but I changed to leaving, I would take the plastic off of, after the glue dried, you'd take it off and then put it onto the felt. But because I like to hang the wreaths on the walls with glue dots, the mini glue dots, that I started changing to leaving the plastic on. So that's your choice, just whichever you prefer. Or just leave it on the wreath and you're going to cut this out. So before we get started, I like to cut the center out of my template. And you can see I've already started. And the reason for that is it's so hard to go in, and we're going to put the little wired hangers. See the little wire hangers? They're on the inside as well as the outside, and it makes it harder to get this light adjusted. It makes it harder to cut around those without cutting them. So go ahead, when you draw out your template, go ahead and take like little small cuticle scissors or little small scissors to get that center out. And then your first glue, you can see from the back side, is right up next to that center. Okay, then you'll do the first beads. The beads will run, let me show you the next stage. This one, these are 8mm beads on the outer rim, and these are 6mm on the inner side. And then you might use some 4mm little bubble beads intermittently. And I'll show you that towards a little bit. Okay, so first put your first group around. And you want to make it interesting. If you notice, I've got fluted, I've got frosted, shiny, pearl, faceted. Even this one's a bicone. So make it interesting, and if you have the good stash of beads, go ahead and put all the different colors. That's all up to you. And then the next layer, you're ready to go ahead and do the second ring, and that will be right up around. Put your glue right in here and start doing your second ring. And these are the 8mm for it to be this size. And you'll be able to tell on the back, see the difference in color? it's a little opaque still. That means it hasn't completely dried. Where it's clear, it's dry. But this is good enough for us to go ahead and put the third layer. But you can't put this third layer right here, you cannot put it on until this starts showing that it's good and set up. Or what will happen is these beads will spread because of the weight of that third layer. They'll spread and your beads will fall in, especially the smaller beads. Now on the third layer, you've got big, little, big, little, big, little, so forth. To make it more interesting. And some might come out, some might go in. So while this is drying, what we want to do is start making the little hook. These are little hooks, that little hangers that you see on Christmas balls. Start making them, and you can go ahead and put them in while that's drying. And what I've done is take wire and put a seed bead on it. So you can see that. And let me talk to you about the wire and the size of the seed bead. It should look good to your eye. But this wire I had is 24 gauge, and it was bigger than the wire I'm using. So, you know, the number of wire goes up as the gauge gets smaller. So you might want to be in the 26 or 28 range of wire. And oddly enough, I was pulling this, you've seen this, you know, in your vegetables things. I was pulling this off a lettuce, and it said it's organic, non-GMO, and it says reuse tie in home or garden. Didn't say crafts, but that's just what I did, is I opened it up to see what kind of wire was in it. So if you don't have wire, you do have wire. It's in your kitchen. So definitely reuse this. This has a coating to keep it from rusting. And this, like I said, was a little bit smaller. If you can see the side there, it seemed like it was a little bit smaller than this gauge, which is, what did I say, 24 gauge? See, it seemed like it was just a little bit smaller. So I think maybe a 26 gauge might be the answer. And it's up to you how long you cut the piece. Of course, you're going to loop it over. You're going to loop it over and then put the seed bead up on it. So whatever size wire you need, you know, you need to have your seed bead big enough, which you don't want a very big seed bead, but big enough to fit onto your wire, but not too big. Well, you don't want it too big where it doesn't seem pleasing to the eye, but you don't want it too small where it will fall through the hole of the bead. Some of the beads have large holes. Let me show you an example. Like this one. This one will fit okay. But this one, which is a very nice shiny bead right here, it has a big hole. So it's going to go right into it. See? That's got a big hole. So as you're gluing this down, the thing you want to think about is these kind of beads with big holes can't be used for putting the wire hanger in. They're just too large. So I've put that one right over here, and I'm hiding the holes on each side of the one that can be used. So when you're gluing these in, the first level, when you're gluing them in, think about the distance of, do you want to do every 2 or 3, or how many of those, hangers do you want? And turn your beads outward. See, I've turned this one outward to hang, and this one came out where it just had a hole outward. And then you want to tuck the hangers close to the next bead over. You don't want them sticking straight out. That's not attractive, and it'll get hung up on stuff. So make sure when you have the hole, it's just slightly outward of the next bead. See, that lays next to this bead. That makes it more pleasing to the eye. Up here on the top, you can do a little bit more outward if you like. But you decide how many. Do about, 3 or 4 in the center. And then just what seems pleasing to you. So you can work on these. Now you also have the choice of a sequin. You could put a sequin through your wire if that's the only thing you have, or you like that look. This is an example of a Christmas ornament that I made, and I put these filigree flower. If you're buying them, they're under filigree flower. And those are pretty. Those are real nice for ornaments. And that's let's see what millimeter. That's a 6 millimeter. So the only thing I could find in the seed bead size to gauge, I had bought these to make a cherry pie in a bottle cap. And what seems a little bit small to me is a size 11. But then I was looking at the 8 and it seems too big. So somewhere the 9 or 10 range is what you want to use for your seed beads. Okay, so go ahead and start putting those in. And then when you can see on the back that it's starting to get opaque and things feel like they're in place, then we're going to start with the third layer. Now I've set this up because the third layer will be the most difficult. And the reason for that is you're trying to, get colors that aren't going to be redundant to the colors you've already gotten this layer and in this layer. So I went ahead and pre-picked mine, and I do a starting point that will help guide me. Now the glue, you're going to have to tidy up the glue, but for the sake of getting this done quick, I'm going to go ahead and, I wouldn't normally put the glue like this. I would dip each one into glue, but I think that'll take too long. This does help the beads stay in place, and it will dry clear. But do tidy up. And this is a Mardi Gras bead. And it's a faceted bead as well. And this time of year, before Valentine's, going into Easter, you've got St. Patty's Day, you've got Mardi Gras, you've got Valentine. All of them put out these Mardi Gras style of necklace. And this is an excellent time to pick up the beads. Now see, I went ahead and put the loop on this one. So I need to decide what direction I want that loop to go. And then get the center. That's not sticking down. Doesn't have enough glue. The glue, see, I would normally dip it in the glue, but we're we're just going this way. Want my loop to show. Well, now it's stuck to oh my gosh. I'll have y'all know, I did this entire video and 20 minutes of it was off the side. I was gluing away. It was just in my head. And when I went to review it, everything was off in the corner of the video. So I'm trying to do a better job. And I had to make the whole piece over again. Okay, so you get the idea of what I'm doing. Now, the wider that you have this apart, this inner layer from this layer, determines the size of how big the ring will be. And if you want a wider, lower profile wreath, then give yourself a gap in here. If you want it to be more bubbly and stand up high, this one stands up higher than, because these are tightly pushed together, the inner ring and the outer ring, first two rings. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside and go to the one that I made. Which is here. This was the one I made off camera. So this one shows you, this is a little bit bigger because I gave a gap. I put a little bit of a gap just to see what a little bigger would look like. Now, it's a subtle difference, but you can see these beads stand up taller if they're pushed together. These go a little bit wider. Okay, the size of this, let me point this out. This smaller is 15 mediums, that's the inner ring, and 17 big, that's the outer ring, and then this top ring is big, little. So, or big, medium. And you see there's beads in here as filler beads, and those are the 4 millimeter little bubbles. It's supposed to just look like little bubbles. Anywhere I had a gap, I just tried to fit one little one. If you need to raise a bead up because it's kind of in a dip, then you could put a bubble, like here's one. I put the bubble right in there, the little bead. So it makes it cuter. I mean, it's cute too. So then you watch this, you check on it every so often, make sure they haven't shifted because the glue is, is fluid and not set up yet. And then start looking for this outer back part to be clear. When it's clear, you can go ahead and cut it out. And I'm going to start with big scissors. And then I'll go to cuticle scissors. Now see, watch out for your wire, that you do not cut your wire. Okay, so then you just see, I still see it over here on the side, and that's where I'll take the cuticle scissors and work around the beads. And clean it up just that much better. See? Now the other thing is, if it's flexible, if I've already gone through this, it was flexible before you cut it out. If it seems flexible on the plastic, go ahead and put some glue in that place where it's breaking. Okay, the next step that I put on here, I was looking at it, trying to decide where I would put the wreath, the hanger, the ribbon. So I was thinking, oh, I had a spot here I didn't love. So I put these little sweet flowers. So here are some flowers. These are really ideal because they're thin. They're super thin. They were just in my stash. These are a little bit thicker but pretty. And then there's these littler, smaller little daisies. So those are nice. You need at least 3 to kind of balance it. But see that you don't want them to stand out. You want them to blend in. But everything you're doing is just a layer of interest. So they're just another layer of interest, like the wire loops. It's just another, and then the textures is another layer of interest. The facets, the shiny versus the pearl versus the flatter, opaque, like this one, and the frosted. Just all layers of interest. Okay, so for the ribbon, I'm using silk. This one's a 7mm that's on this one. And I've done wider. It's just I get these at the thrift store. But eBay has a bunch of sellers right now that got them from Michael's when Michael's quit carrying them. And so they're reselling them. And I bought a whole bunch of different colors. I bought the 4mm to use in clothing and hats. But you can get a group of different sizes if you're interested in having them. But I think the silk is so nice, it drapes better than the satin. It just is so thin and wispy, it falls on its own. And so you can go with a bigger, even a 10mm. I've used with the Christmas. And you'll want to do after you do this wreath, you'll want to do the Christmas one. And if you go back to my video of my Christmas memory room, you'll see I show the gold version and the silver version of the Christmas wreaths that are bubbles. And actually, they started about the late 50s into the 60s. They had more of that style. And so as soon as, this is pretty dry and it's all cut out, then I'll just cut the ribbon that I choose, which color I want, based on, what looks best with the number of the colors of the beads. And I'm staying with pastel beads on the Easter, because all the Easter eggs. So if you haven't seen my trash to treasure table, I'm working to get a room box going with the trash to treasure table. It starts out just a can, and I show you how to make this. And I'm going to do a room box, little small room box with the wreath with it, and a little Easter basket. So now you want to start looking for your Easter basket for either a little rabbit or a little chick to go in your Easter basket so you can decorate around it with eggs and chocolates and flowers. So look for these. I've had these a long times, but I think that any of the craft stores will have them. And then get an interesting little Easter basket. And the other thing I want to remind you is to start ordering your nail art flowers. This came off of Temu. This is a group of 3 roses. And these are really nice, real pretty. The yellow, red. This was in the nail art. And this was an old package. But these little, if you can get the 3D little flowers, you can use them on all kinds of things that are, like that's very Eastery colors. Just a metal cameo that I got off eBay and put the little flowers on it to look like a mirror. And you'll need, for your Easter basket, you will need to get some kind of paper shred to put down in your Easter basket. So think about what you could use for that, or what you can pick up at the store. And I wanted to show you, I just got these in from eBay. I just put in tiny clay molds. Tiny clay punch. And I was looking for a flower. And so this has these 3 sizes of flower. You can see by my thumbnail, these are real small. And so there's a little tulip, And there's the hearts. There's 9 pieces in here. So it's a, you know, pinky orangey color in a little case. So I got this on, and this was, it was $3.98 or something like that, $3.89, something under $4. So start getting your nail art, flowers and things before all the nail art's gone. And then don't forget to look for the Mardi Gras, because you've got the St. Patty's Day colors of gold and green. You've got the red and purple, pink for Valentine's, and then you've got the Mardi Gras colors. So look for those. And check back with me to see what my room box is going to look like. Thanks for coming by. Please like, share, subscribe. I'm trying to grow my channel, so I appreciate it when y'all comment and do the thumbs up, and you help me grow my channel. Thank you so much.